All right, beautiful people, this time we are going to start a new type of series. You're going to learn how to print pattern in C programming. There's so many pattern example here. Of course, they're under just one type of pattern, which is right angle triangle. And the reason why we're doing this so that you can practice nested loop really well. So here again, if you can understand one pattern example, you'll be able to solve all of them because they are just under type 1. So all of them are similar. Again, this is not something I have got from anywhere, just I'm giving the name type 1 because I think it's easier for me to explain. Later on, you will be introduced with other type of examples for sure. So at first, if you can understand pattern 1, then you'll be able to solve all of them. It's going to be super easy for you, okay? So let's start. Again, one thing I want to explain, if you can understand how you're doing these things in C programming, it's going to be super easy for you to solve the problems in other programming language. Let's say maybe you are practicing C++, Java, Python, doesn't matter. The concept will be exactly similar, okay? So let's start with the first pattern here. You can see that I have the first pattern. Try to understand this, what's happening here. So basically, we'll ask the user to give us the n here. So n refers to the number of rows, how many rows you want. As you can see, if the user gives us a row number 3, so there are 3 rows user expecting, and we are printing 3 rows. Okay. So step by step, we're going to start here. We're going to create our basic structure, and then we'll go back to the drawing again. So please focus. If you can understand one, then it's going to be super easy for you to understand others, as I said already. Okay. So here I'm going to take the user input for the n. Again, I'm using small n. It doesn't matter. You can use capital N as well. So here I'm going to ask the user, hey, enter the number of rows you want. Enter the number of rows you want. Or just enter the number of rows. That's all. And now I'm going to take the user input. And while I'm taking the user input, I'm going to make sure it's an integer value. And that's why I'm using the if condition here. If something goes wrong, I'm going to tell the user there is something wrong, okay? So let's take the input from the user with the help of %d, and then we're going to put this value inside our variable n. Now, when we're taking this input, we want to make sure that it is an integer number. Now, if it is not integer number, if it is not equal 1, then we're going to show a message. And what is that? Let's say in this time, we're going to say invalid input. And then we can say, please enter an integer. Now, this is these lines of codes that we're writing right now, it has nothing to do with our pattern printing. But again, this is something we're making sure for, valid input. So we're doing some input validation here, okay? So please enter an integer. There you go. And then I'm going to put a new line as usual. This is something we have done so many times. And then we're going to tell the compiler something is wrong here. If something is successful, return 0 will work. Otherwise, we're returning from here directly and we're not going down, okay? And then I want to make sure the number is positive number because the number of rows needs to be at least 1, okay? And that's why I'm going to add one more condition down below after we take the user input from the user. If it is less than or equal to 0, I will need to tell the user, hey, this is an invalid input and must be greater than 0. So let's do that here, and must be greater than 0. Or we can say number of rows must be greater than 0. That should be all. And if everything goes right, then we will do our pattern printing things here. Pattern printing. So this is a message I just wanted to put here just to check whether things are working fine or not. Okay, now let me test this code before even I go to the explanation part, how the pattern printing works. So this is the basic structure that we'll be using many times. Okay, let's compile and run. Let's see whether it does work. Here I'm going to run, and of course there was something previously that I was running, so let me clear it and compile it again here. And there you go. This time it's asking for the row numbers. Let's say if I give a, which is not an integer, right? So in this case, of course, this if condition will work and it will throw a message to us. So let me show you that. And it says invalid input, please enter an integer. So it's not even going down, okay? So let's try the next time. If we try it again, this time we will give 0, which is not valid again. So 0 is an integer, so it will pass this if condition. There is nothing going to do here because the condition is false, so it will not go inside the if block. We'll come inside this one this time, and of course 0 less than equal 0 is true, therefore this one will work. So let's see if I press enter, and you can see it's working. Now this time we'll try with a valid input. Let's see if I give 1, and you can see the pattern printing problem is going to start work. Okay, so let me just comment this. I do not need this one, and let me just also minimize this one. Let's start, understanding how things are working here. So at first we have learned we need to take the user input, and this is basically will define the row number. So if somebody gives us row number 3, we need to create 3 rows, and this is something we can do with loop. So here I'm going to write it for you so that you can understand how things are working here. So maybe I can go like this: row 1, row 2, row 3. So the number of rows depend on the value of user input that we are receiving, right? So this is something we already know, and we can create a loop for printing the rows. So let's do that. Here I'm going to create a loop, and this time we can use something meaningful. We can use I, j, those type of things, but let's use row, and we're going to start the first row. It will run until the user input. So if the user gives us 3, we'll run from 1 to 3. So there will be 3 rows, right? And each time we need to increment by 1. Okay, so the first loop or the outer loop is created. Now let's focus on the column. So when it is row 1, we need to create the column 1, right? And when it is row 2, we need to create column 2. So basically how things are working, let me show you here. It will be easier for me to explain. So when there is one row, or the first row, we are going to create one column. When there is row number 2, we need to create 2 columns. When row number is 3, we need to create 3 columns. So what basically we can understand from here, the number of columns depends on the row number. So that's why, let's go back there again. We are going to create another loop, and it will run based on the row number. So that's why we can say integer column 1, and this column will run until the row number. So this column number depends on the row number. Again, come back here. Of course, the first one was super easy. The outer loop was super easy. If somebody gives us 4, it will create 4 loops. So we'll start from 1 to 4. And that's why, as I said, outer loop is super easy. But now let's try to understand the column or the inner loop. An inner loop depends on the outer loop. So if it is row number 1, column will be 1. If it is row number 2, there will be 2 columns. If it is row number 3, there will be 3 columns. So column number depends on the row number. And that's why we have used the condition here. Column will start from 1, it will run until the row number. And of course, each time it will increment by 1. And that's all. And now what do you want to do? It depends on you. There are different type of pattern. Maybe you want to do different kind of things. So in our case, what basically we're doing here, we are printing 1 at the beginning. Try to understand the pattern. It's very important. And in the second row, we're printing from 1 to 2. In the third pattern, we are printing from 1 to 3. And again, now try to understand where we can get these values, 1, 2, 3, where we can get them. So here, the value of row is 1. Try to understand the outer loop value is 1. Here, the outer loop value is 2. Outer loop value is 3. And here, the column value, the first one is 1. Column value, first one is 1, and then 2. Column value, first one is 1, and then 2, and then 3. So the column value is changing from 1 to 3 here. The column value is changing from 1 to 2 here, and the column value is 1 at the beginning. So basically, you need to print the column values here, because rows value, they're not changing, right? So here in the entire row, the rows values is 2. Here in the entire row, the row value is 3. Here in the entire row, the row value is 1, which is basically our outer loop. So we have understood that we need to print the column values, the inner loop values. So let's come back here. We're going to do that. And here I'm going to print. And of course, here I'm going to use %d. And then I'm going to use the column value. That should be all. And now when one row is completed, we will go back to the outer loop. But before going to the outer loop, we need to print a new line. And that's why I'm going to put a new line here. So you can try to understand what I'm trying to do here. So first, we are coming for the first row. We are printing the column values for the first row. And then before going to the second row, we are printing a new line. So the next row can start. So that should be all. Let's compile and run. Here we go. We're compiling and running. And if I gave row number 3, it should print 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, as you can see. Now you can keep some space here if you want, and let's compile and run again. And this time if I give 3, you will see there are some space as we expected, and hopefully things are making sense to you. Now if I do not give the new line, what is the problem? So everything will be printed in one row. Let me show you that. So here I'm going to run, and this time I'm going to give 3, and you can see all the value, even though they are right, but they are printed in one single new line. And we don't want that, because we are printing the pattern in such a way that it will print the values based on the row and column number. Now again, as I said, instead of row and column, some people use I, J, those kind of variable. You can use that. There is nothing wrong with that. But I will stick to this one. Now that we have understood how the pattern works, let's move on with other patterns. Let's see how pattern 2 will work. Again, try to understand. It's all about understanding the pattern, how the logic is happening here. So if you see, again, we're taking the value of n, so number of rows depends on the value of n, and we already have that. So there is nothing we need to change. But for the column number 1, of course, it is printing first row value. For column number 2, for row number 2, it is printing the same value. For row number 3, it is printing the same value. So if you try to understand, of course, the column number depends on the row number again. All of them, all the pattern, their column number depends on the row number. So what does it mean? Basically, when it is first row, there will be 1 column. When it's second row, there will be 2 columns. But only thing you need to check here, how the value is printed or where the value is coming from. Now this time I can see here when the value of row is 1, let me write it here. In the first row, it is printing 1. When the value of row is 2, it is printing 2 twice. When the value of row 3, it is printing 3 twice. So we can see that it is basically printing the value of rows this time. And let me go back to our loop, and this time we are going to print the value of row instead of column. And let me just compile and run, and let me show you. So if I give 3 here, you can see it is printing exactly the pattern that we're looking for. Now if I try with the other value, let's say number of rows this time will be 4, and you can see it is working perfectly fine. Let's go back. This time we're going to move the pattern 3. Again, pattern 3 and pattern 4 is kind of similar. So let's try to understand. We already have checked based on the number of based on the input n, it is going to run the number of rows. Again, based on the number of rows, it is going to run number of columns. So there is nothing we need to do. But as I said, we need to only focus on how the value is changing. So here we can see we are printing binary pattern 1 1 0 1 0 1. And how the pattern is working, you can pause the video and take a little bit time here. Of course, as you know that we could print it like this 1 1 2 1 2 3, right? So you can see there is a pattern here. For the odd numbers, we are printing 1, and for the even numbers, we are printing zeros. So there is something going on here for odd and even. So it is kind of like similar with this one, but we are dividing by 2. We are finding the modulus. So let's go back. If we print the column again, let me run it here and let me show you. So if I try 3, you can see it is printing 1 1 2 3. But if we divide by 2, and if we print the modulus or the remainder, then for the odd number it's going to print 1, and for the even number it's going to print 0. So let's do that here. Column modulus 2. Let me compile and run, and let me show you again. If I try 3, this time actually here, so let's try 3, and you can see it's working completely fine. And I'm sure you can figure out this one. So what is the change is happening here? You can figure out by yourself. Let me move on to the next one. Pattern 5 and pattern 6, similar kind of things. Again, as I said, all of them are similar. So here we know how to print 1 1 2 1 2 3, but we need to print alphabetic right angle triangle here. And if you recall, as I already told you about the ASCII value, for the capital A, the ASCII value is 65, right? And then capital B 66, capital C 67. So if we even go back to 1 1 2 1 2 3, let's go back to that one. Here I'm coming back, and then we'll try to see what we can do here. So again, I'm going to clear it out. Let's compile and run. This time I'm going to try with 3, and you can see we have 1 1 2 1 2 3. But let's try to imagine we want to print alphabet here. So not %d, we want to print with %c. And what is the next thing? For capital A, we know that it's going to be 64, the first one, right? Or maybe 65. Let's try. So here, if I plus this value with 65, let's see what happens. So here I'm going to compile and run. And I'm going to give the number of rows 3s. It starts from B. So surely it's going to be 65 for the capital A. So you know when it is 1, then it will be 1, 2, then it will be 1, 2, 3 for the third rows. So when it is 1 for the first row, 1 plus 64 will be 65, and the 65 ASCII character is going to be A. We know that already. So that should be all. Let's go back, and I'm sure you can do this one as well. So this time you want to deal with only row values, not column. And for asterisk, it's going to be exactly similar kind of things. All you need to do here, you need to print asterisk. So you need to just print the symbol. And there is nothing else actually we need to do here. Let's see how it works. So again, if I come back here, so based on the row numbers, we are running the column numbers, and then we can print something. So we are printing the star. Again, I will keep some space just to make things a little bit more beautiful, and I will give 3 number of rows, and you can see things are working. Now, if you want to deal with hash, of course, you can do that, exactly similar thing. I'm going to run it again, and let's try with 5. And you can see things are working completely fine. And again, I will try one more time here. Maybe before that, I want to clear it. And then let's compile and run again. This time I'll try with 1 row, and it is working fine.